Hey everybody, welcome back again to your favorite West Coast based Blue Jays chat. This is Swing and a Drive. I'm James. That over there is Logan. I figured out how to point in the direction that Logan is sitting, so that's we're learning here every day. Swing and a
Every
Drive.
day.
So it's today we're chatting about Vladdy Jr. because he's pretty much the only one left on the Jays that we really is worth chatting about. I don't want to take anything away from our starting
No,
pitchers
I
that are
mean
still
lots of
big
these young
pros.
kids
There's
are
lots of
worth
stuff.
talking about.
Yeah,
We just can't overlook what Vladdy has done recently, and he won the American League Player of the Week this last week.
yeah.
So
For the second time
very
this year.
very worth talking about.
Yeah,
The second time
second
this
time
year.
this
That's
year.
right.
Yeah.
For his week his week of Player of the Week, 1,713 OPS. 1.713 OPS. Okay? Okay?
Logan, if you don't mind, can you let the uninitiated or the people that might have turned this video on that don't know what a good OPS looks like?
Look, like
What it,
Major League average is like 700.
okay,
Is 0.700. Right around there somewhere is the Major League average.
okay,
That's not exactly it.
okay.
Uh, if you're hitting 1.000, you're very good. He's got that much more than the Major League average.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolute heater. There's no question. He's the best hitter in the American League right now. No question.
Now, what's for
And
you?
that's got Aaron Judge.
What's behind it for you?
There's a few things for sure. He made a mechanical adjustment that coincided randomly with a haircut. So I love the haircut stats personally because I was talking about it like the day it happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, new Vladdy, new haircut, new Vladdy, and he went up. And where are those numbers? Hilarious numbers. He's got an 800 slug, 8.08 since he got his haircut. That's nuts. That's an OPS, people. That's a good OPS.
That's a good OPS.
And OPS also, just so everyone knows, is on base percentage plus your slugging percentage. So, yeah, he is just hitting the ball, and when he hits it, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, what's he at now? 17-game hit streak? We're a 17-game hit streak. In that streak, there has been 18 extra base hits. It's insane. It's insane what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
And his timing is just unbelievable. Like, he is right on everything. He's not getting fooled. He knows what pitches are coming. He's not swinging at pitches that he doesn't want to swing at. He's not expanding the strike zone. He's letting pitchers' pitches be pitchers' pitches and not swing at them. Or if he is swinging at them, he takes a really good swing at them and it's a double. And he's just like turning around inside cutters from Garrett Cole. Like he's unbelievable right now. Unbelievable right now.
So, what do you think? Like for me, I'm thinking about what how a player taps into that kind of focus or that change that they make, right? Like he's going along like early in the season. From my perspective, early in the season, he was putting a ton of pressure on himself. He had all the expectations, and I think with that, he just tried to do a little too much early in the season.
Yeah.
But he's
100%. Yeah. Come on,
yeah.
Vladdy might be a 5-year veteran of the major leagues, but he's still just a young dude.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he is susceptible to pressure like anyone else.
Absolutely.
And the Toronto sports media is super happy to absolutely just pour it all over him.
Yes.
And let's not forget, he was MLB The Show cover this year.
That's a thing.
Which was super controversial to a whole bunch of people. And for the first half of the season, everyone was ragging on him for it because he wasn't hitting well. He wasn't producing. He wasn't a guy worth being on the cover other than he's super popular and sells games, whether he's crushing 50 homers or not.
Yeah.
but criticized a lot for that. So I mean, just added pressure. And to your point, I think now that they have there's zero expectations on the season now, right? Like zero. Nobody's talking about the Jays. The Jays are not in the like national. I say national, meaning like all of baseball, public media.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
They're not being talked about outside of Toronto very much, basically.
Yeah.
Even within Canada, like
Yeah.
the casual Jays fan has moved on to enjoying summer at the lake and doing their things. Like I mean, that's what I see anyway. So there's zero pressure. There's zero pressure on Vladdy.
Yeah.
So he's just going out there, a relaxed guy.
I want to add one. I want to add one thing to your list because I completely agree, but I also think that he knows now for sure that the Jays have to make his offer in this offseason. If they don't make the offer this offseason,
Yeah.
they're in a whole heap of trouble coming into the new season without knowing what the number is on your books for Vladdy when you go to sign everybody else down the road. And so for me, I'm saying Vladdy kind of has a little bit of an eye on, hey, I'm kind of playing a little bit from my contract here. And I want to make sure that the Blue Jays are good and ready to, if it's not a blank check, it's going to just be a goddamn huge check. So like that's what it's going to be.
So I mean, I'm of two minds about the like paying Vladdy, because I agree with what the heck is his name, Jeff Passan. I agree with Jeff Passan in what he said about like you just don't
Right.
You don't
I saw that.
pay a first baseman $300 million. You just don't.
Right.
They, like who knows what his longevity is going to be, yada, 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 all these things. He'll probably be a DH before too long, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of reasons to not give a first baseman that kind of money, right? Because like very rarely is a first baseman a guy that carries your team or, provides that.
Yeah.
But then that being said, like Vladdy can carry the team. Vladdy is the heart and soul of the Blue Jays, especially right now. I mean, maybe not. Varsho's kind of the heart, and
he's a heart and hustle guy. Yeah. But I know I take your meaning. I take your meaning for sure.
Like he's the guy. He's the guy the fans. He's the face of the franchise.
Totally.
100%. Right. Yep. Like there's no questioning that. So you got that kind of extra bump, in my opinion. Like you get a bump for that in your salary, whatever it's going to be. Right. Like you get a little more because you're the face of a team.
Yeah.
I think you should.
Yeah.
It's an extra. It's like additional work, the things you have to do. So additional money, like any of us would ask for that, right? So I think he's close. I think he's close to 30 million a season.
So that's
going to be hard for the Blue Jays to swallow.
My argument about it all is instead of like Jeff Passan, I kind of agree with the no first baseman, whatever. It was like, okay, but Vladdy runs better than the average typical first base kind of build person. He's just a little bit more of a well-rounded athlete. He played third base, so like that's kind of where he came up, right? So there's that.
A little bit.
Like he can make those kind of things happen. But for me, it's AAV that I care about more than the final dollar term. Like when you say,
because that's our tax. Our taxes are based on AAV. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like, so your term is one thing, but really, I want to know each year, Vladdy's going to cost me 28 million, or he's going to cost me 30 million, or whatever he's going to cost me. And if it's on an 8-year term or a 10-year term, I guess we can figure that out. Like, he's going to make another
it's
big
gonna
contract
be more than
later.
It should be because it's Toronto.
Sure, maybe it's
that's
how
Toronto gets everybody, right? Like Toronto matches AAV, and then gives them an extra year. That's how we get guys.
Sure. I mean, that's probably how we got Springer. His contract is like
how we got Springer. It's how we got Osmond, Bassett. I think it's how we got all those guys.
Yeah, something to it for sure. Could be, but I mean, whatever it ends up at, I know it's going to be a big number, and I don't care. The Blue Jays need to just pay it. and put it on the books. So it's in stone so that when they're figuring out the rest of their numbers, they have that. That's you've got your pitchers locked in pretty much for next year for those dollars. So
Yeah,
then you get Vladdy locked in for his dollars. You've already got Springer locked in for the big dollars.
yeah.
You're
Then
gonna
you can
know
build
whether
around it.
you can. What's that?
Then you know how much you have to spend, right? Like
Yeah, exactly. That's your.
on your DH slash third baseman. They got to
Yeah.
realize that they have to offer him more than they have already, like way more,
Yes. Yes.
considerably more, obviously.
Yes.
Um, and I'm for it. I'm for it. You know, like I said, I'm of two minds of it, but like I'm for it. I don't think you give a first baseman that money, but I think you give Vladdy that money. I think you give him 30 a year, like whatever.
Yeah.
29, 28 to 30 a year. I am fully happy. Over 30, no chance. Absolutely no chance. And if it's 30, I'm probably keeping it to like 8 years.
If it's a bigger dollar, yeah, I'm bringing
You
it
know,
down.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe 7, like something shorter. There'll be opt outs all over the place if it's, unless it's high, unless it's
Like
really high, there'll be,
if I'm
there'll be
Vladdy, he's in a great spot though, right? Because he's 25 years old. So
he's got all, he holds
if you
all the
do an
cards.
8-year contract, you're 33 when you come up for free agency again.
Yeah,
And you're totally David Ortizing it that at that
dude,
point. You're just going like,
dudes right now are signing 10-year contracts at when they're 33.
yeah,
It's bonkers. It's
yeah,
bonkers.
yeah.
And really, like, even if we have to like give him a Shohei deal, like pay him 20 a year now for whatever for 8 years, and then after he's done, pay him the rest out somehow. Like whatever.
Sure.
Just pay the guy. It's
Yep.
worth it. It's worth it in so many ways.
Yep.
Like he's beloved by fans. You
Yes.
know how many Guerrero jerseys get sold? It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's why he's on the cover. Like he's worth it.
Yeah. Yes,
Now
he's worth it for sure.
that all being said, before we finish this, I want to touch on one thing. They might be waiting, both sides might be waiting on Pete Alonso.
Okay, I've heard this argument, I think, in some form.
So they're very comparable. They have been all through their careers. Pete's a year ahead of Vladdy on the arbitration. So this is his walk year. And he's a Boris client, so he will, right? Like everyone knows. He'll
Yes.
enter free agency.
Yeah.
So he'll enter free agency and he'll get more than he's worth because he's a Boris client.
Yes.
Or he won't sign. And so this could be a problem for us in the offseason because they'll be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for this Boris client to sign until March. And then we won't be in talks again because when the season's on, Vladdy doesn't want to talk too much about it. And I respect that. Like, you want me to be in the business mode, let's be business mode. Like, either meet my, like, you've got all off season to do this contract. Like, make it work. But if we have to wait for Pete Alonso, I think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But it will set the market. It'll set Vladdy's market, and they both know it. So they could both be waiting for that.
Well, so if I'm the other side of it, right, is if you're the Blue Jays and you know you got to get this thing done, maybe the Vladdy contract gets done first and that sets the market for Pete. And he's like, oh, like nobody's going to pay Pete more than Vladdy unless they're an idiot. And then, but then maybe he does make a little bit more than Vladdy. Who knows? I don't think Boris is going to get the big dollars for too many clients going forward. I think that his
Well,
bag
he's
of tricks
not going
is,
to get the long contracts that they want anymore. I'm
yeah,
very certain of that. No
yeah,
one's going to offer a Boris client 10 years again.
yeah. I'm
Um,
with you there.
but anyway, I just wanted to get that out there because I think it's a factor. It's a factor, and it's not a small factor in the Vladdy contract situation.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it makes a lot of sense from the market setting kind of standpoint. So, and I'm like, we don't want that weight. Like, we don't, not again, not
We
again.
can't. We can't.
We're doing it all off season last year, waiting to see, waiting to see, waiting to see, waiting to see. And then what happened? We didn't sign a bunch of guys heading into spring training. Started spring training late. We're not a full cylinder at all cylinders by the time the season started, and it wasn't a great year. We have to get this stuff done. I think we should probably end her there. We want to know what you guys think of the incredible run Vladdy's had since the haircut.
Yeah. Pump those tires. Vladdy is killing it.
Yeah, show Vladdy some love in the comments.
Hopefully he keeps going.
For sure. And I guess we will see everybody in the next video. Don't forget, hit the little like button and maybe subscribe to the channel if you want
Give us
some
a
more
subscribe.
of the best West Coast based
Ring
Blue
the bell
Jays chat.
so you don't miss out on the next one.
And we will talk to you guys
See you
again
next
soon.
time.
Okay.
Go
Peace,
Jays.
guys.